Hello, Jim. Looks like you're once again first on the list. Just gonna get myself some water here. Hey, Bunty. We don't really have a lot of time on hand, so I'm just pretty much going to get straight into it. Anyway, this here is the current compass switch assembly. So you can see we've got the, what is this? This is a 5883 type 3-axis compass assembly board, and it's just communicating through I2C. And this is a old USB-C meter version 3, or one of the version 3s, and I just kind of repurposed everything. But even though this is a bigger board, this is a USB 63, which is the more current one that we're using. It uses a different controller. This is a T212, whereas this is a Tiny45. It uses a different serial chip. This is the 340N. This is the 340. I forget which one it is, but anyway, it's a 14 pin over 8. So basically, what I'm going to try and do is transfer the firmware for the Tiny45 to work for the Tiny212, and see if we can eliminate this problem where, for whatever reason, this just kept dropping out. We might not be able to solve it, but it's going to be the first step before I move on to the next things. I might just remove the parts that we don't need, which include the, I might just leave that on there, but certainly I'm going to take the USB-C stuff off, and I've got to take the, this particular little chip off as well. There, Lexi, Lath, Pro Engineer. Alright, let's get some hot air. There isn't really a lot of point in me taking the parts off, other than the fact that I just don't want them there interfering with anything. By the way, Teresa, I have done the USB port replacement on the switch. I'm not 100% sure that both ports are, they are working, but I have a feeling that one is ever so slightly not perfect, which of course is the one that's underneath the assembly. I might have to just set it up and reflow it all again later. I don't like it when I'm not 100% sure that it's working. It's either that, or it is just a bit of junk on the contacts of the USB-C port. I'm going to leave the display connector on there. Hey Mickey, Arilla, hey Tony W. Corey Postman's here, been a while. Probably the most valuable part in there was the current voltage sensor. I'll just put them aside, you never know. Might be some truly desperate day that I have to use those parts again. I hope not, but you never know. And I was having fun today with my display supplier. They wanted to charge me another $56 on top of the $39 I've already paid to get the display shipped to me. Now this is a box that's barely going to be 2 kilos. It's not even going to be 2 kilos. Anyway, I told them no thanks. I said I'll just go find another supplier. because there are multiple suppliers. Yeah, I'm not actually buying them from the factory direct. I don't think anyone ever does that. But anyway, because I said to him, I said, "Have you got? Yeah, is there another option? I don't need FedEx or DHL." And they're like, "No, can't help you." And I said, "Fine, I'm going elsewhere." And they said, "What about EMS?" And I was like, "Well, why didn't you mention that originally?" Of course, they stiffed me anyway because EMS doesn't cost $39 to ship that package. So they made themselves a little bit of profit there. Needless to say, I'm still waiting to hear back from the next supplier and get things organized for the future purchase. Okay. Hey Ben, I do a lot of work with the Tiny5 and the Tiny10, which are the SOT236 chips. I actually quite enjoy using those. For the 212, it's going to be fine. Well, I hope so. Come to think of it, I'm not sure if it's going to have enough. It should have enough storage space, flash space to handle the I2C library that I've got. The real problem is going to be the printf library, so I may have to rewrite that. I've got a limited version of that I can use. Anyway, we'll have a look and see what I can do. Alright, next thing to take off is the actual compass assembly. So it looks like we've got plus minus and then, yeah. Yeah, that's a fume extractor going. Hey John L. Naturally somebody hot glued it down. I really need to bring the camera down at a different angle, because otherwise when I'm working directly above, you can't see anything. Stuck to me now. Trying to think of where I'm gonna. I might put it, say, about here, and then I can drag the wires around. Okay, which one's clock and data? Clock is closest to ground, data is closest to positive. Right, try and remember that. Just drop some more hot glue on there. As if I didn't already have enough. Oh, Alexi, alright. Well, that'll be good to see if it gets there. I'd be disappointed if it didn't get there. At least it should definitely get there by the weekend, if nothing else. But it'd be nice to have it before then. Hey Godfrey, basically it kept dropping out. And I'm not 100% sure why. So I'm planning on making an integrated unit for my light switch so that... Oops, let's just focus here. So what I'm planning on is making a device that has the compass, the PC connection, and the power switching for the LED all tied into one, rather than right now where I have it as separates. But before I do that, I thought, well, it's probably not a bad idea to actually try with my, with the Tiny212, because that's what it's going to be using. So if nothing else, this will serve as a development platform for the next one. A3X. I'm going to turn that on. There we go. I was going around the internet today and I was actually quite surprised to see there's seems to be quite a lot of hostility towards some other electronics repair rebranding people out there. Someone who's producing non-glare lights and things like that. I just sort of went along just to see what the deal is. With the dual gooseneck LED setups. And the comments were just full of people not too happy. So it was quite interesting. I think the lights were fine. But yeah, anyway. Someone forgot which one is data and whatever on here. The switch, sorry. Yeah. Data is pin 4. Yeah, this is why I need an automated switcher. I'm basically just proving my case here. As I said to you in the email, Alexi, I feel like the heat shrink is just too opaque. But as soon as I get the new stuff, I'll send you down a bit, and then you can cut off the old stuff and redo it. Or you can just mount it without any cover at all if you like. Entirely your choice. Because mine is currently out of a case, I don't have it on a case. Above. Let's see if I can go wide enough so you can see it. There you can see it's just sitting on a 3D printed stand, and that's it. Well, it's not the prettiest by any measure, but hopefully it will do the job. now we've got the fun part of migrating the firmware across. That's definitely going to be hilarious. And I've just realized I've obscured the UPDI interface, so push that back. Okay. And naturally the camera didn't switch because I'm not used to it. Yep. See, we desperately need this to work. I can switch that off. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the firmware we use for the USB-C meter, and we're then going to incorporate the programming we use for this, because this meter already handles I2C so that I can run the display and so that I can query the volts and current. So it's not too much drama for me to then just supplant what I would otherwise be using for this and put the code in for the compass meter. In theory, you know how theories go. Theories are like deadlines and stuff like that. Easy to make, not so easy to keep. Let's see, schematics. Double-sided tape to the bottom of one of your screens. Yeah, you could try all that. Lots of things you can try. Okay, so this is the actual one I'm using now. And basically, you can see I'm just querying all three axes of the, what do you call it, the compass, and then generating raw data basically and spitting it out. It's really simple, which is why it's very frustrating that it's misbehaving. Okay, so we're gonna do a make the T45. Okay. Actually, oh wow, it's right, that wasn't quite what I wanted. That's more like it. Big difference there. Okay, so this is going to become the new firmware, and this is the old firmware. Comment those out so they will then break anything that I have lingering around that was trying to query them. I'm really hoping this is a simple process. The hardest thing in the USB-C meter is often actually the damned LCD setup. There's a lot of really quirky stuff you have to do for that, and now we don't have to. pretty sure I'm not really going to need any of this. In fact, I'm pretty sure I should be able to, let's see, okay, ITC init, copy this. Okay, this is where I'm going to have to do some weird trickery. This H2S is hex to string. So I'm going to have to compose my string manually rather than using this smprintf. John, the big difference is the chip that they're running on. I just have to manually construct this. I know there are other ways I can do this. Hey Jason. Oh wow, I'm wearing my, there's the wrong glasses for me to be wearing. I could actually put all this in a while, a for loop if I wanted, but I'm not going to. Well, maybe I should. We'll just do it plain and simple to start with. You know I'm going to cause myself grief otherwise. Okay. But I would save myself some space. You'll soon see what I mean about doing this in a loop instead. Ah. But initially, the important thing is to get things working first. Christian, you can get cut down versions, which is often what's in these libraries. They don't do full out, but they do enough. Okay, we don't need this LCD stuff. Okay, so 12 and 13, so 14. Technically it doesn't really, yeah, this is just There, 15, so I need 16, oops. Yep, 16 I've got. I don't actually need to remove these LCD functions because the programmer is smart enough to drop them out, but I'll still drop them. Okay, one thing there I'm going to have to fix is that this H2S terminates with a null 0 byte, so I actually have to reassert the 15th byte each time. 14th actually. I could make it that it doesn't assert, but it's okay. It's not like we really care too much about speed. We're only doing this every 2 times a second, so it's definitely not going to suffer. Alright. Let's see if it even compiles. It's a fantastic start. There's an error. Be undeclared. Joy to the world. Well, it built it, so it's a start. Let's go to quad display. You don't really get to see much on quad display anymore these days because I don't have all the cameras running. One day, maybe, one day. And let's see, job data certainly isn't applicable. Well, it compiled it. Now to see if it'll even work. No, it doesn't matter, it can just sit there. Well, it actually found it. And it switched above quad. Okay, so you can see the readout. This is the degrees that it thinks it's at. It should flip 180 on this. Nope, it did not. Alright. It's communicating. Oh. What freaking axis is this that it's working off? I don't think it's right. I've got a mistake somewhere in whatever I'm doing. See if I can run it in debug mode. What's my damn debug mode? Of the serial, right. Well, you can immediately see that the data is not really changing much. Either that or it's been very slow. We'll just say change to that and see how long it takes. Okay, it is updating and it's following. It's just lagging tremendously. It's almost like I have a feeling if I disconnect this, the buffer will read for quite a bit still. Maybe not. It's definitely got the right data because it's leading it with PC and everything is fitting right. But it's just taken a very long time to update for some reason. Yeah, the reason why I have this is so that as the microscope moves, it then allows with OBS. There's two things. It scene switches, so that I go from the compass view to the overhead view, and also it switches my ring light on and off. Okay, so we are reading data, but it just seems to be taking a while to get to us. Is my delay, am I using the wrong delay? Crikey. Oops. What I want to do is have a look at the old code. So FCPU 8000, we don't use that in this one. Yeah, we run at 3.3 in this one. Clock prescan, yeah, whatever. I know the I2C must be working, it's just more a problem of why is it. So I've got a 1 second delay between sending packets. Okay, we'll set that back to 1 second. B-blood, that's the idea. It just shouldn't be taking that long to update, that's the problem. We'll update the firmware again, see if it improves. Nice thing is it's only using up 1.1K, so that's quite good. I forgot to run it in debug mode. Alright, it does seem to be working better now. I might increase... it's working. Overhead. I might just increase the rate of sampling on the local side, on the computer side. So interframe sleep. Why is 1/10 of a second equal 0.2? That makes no sense. Especially when it's not even used. Okay, so it's checking every 1/10 of a second. And we're using non-blocking serial reading. The reason why we do that, and it's just really strange that it's... Unless it's taking 1/10 of a second each time it... No, that should read a full block at a time, shouldn't it? Oh no, it's only reading one. That's why. Okay, what I think's happening? Oh wait, no, it's still 1/10 of a second. This here, this section, it's like reads a byte, but it reads it. So, if bytes rate is greater than 0, I need to flag it here so that it doesn't delay. Oh wait, what's this? Where did you come from? Oh, you are part... No, damn it. Alright, no, that's not the cause. Damn it. Timeout. I'll change the timeout to 0 microseconds. That's disgusting code, Paul. Don't know why I did that. Oh, that's there. Doing things like that just leads to bugs creeping in later that you don't understand why. Yeah, okay, I am actually now a little confused as to, once again, why it's been so sluggish. We're not running a smoothing system either. I'll make it run a little quicker, but it shouldn't actually be the cause of it. Well, it does seem to be behaving more along the lines of what I would expect. Okay. Okay. Time to glue it. I can't get any further up than this. Oh well. I'm intentionally not running it at a high rate. Like, I only need to update every second. Otherwise, you end up getting a little bit too much jitter going on. And the jitter makes it like switch scenes erratically, things like that. I just found making an update every second is more than enough. Pro Engineer, it is, like the 212 runs at 3.3 megahertz, but the code base that I installed it into is the same one that's used for the what do you call it, for the USB-C meter. So I know that the code base is all functional and perfect. Wow, that didn't stay hot for long. I think it's working okay. I think I need to get it mounted and see how we go. If you're wondering why I mount this on a wood block, it's because if you put that compass sensor onto the metal assembly of the microscope, the holder thingy, it kind of messes with it a little bit. But if you put it on a wood block that's about yay thick, it's enough to stop it from being interfered with too badly. There is a little bit of an influence, but nothing too bad. Okay, I'm going to need gobs of hot glue up here. Not much point trying to heat the microscope stand, but I'll try. Because as you know, that thing's pretty much a solid block of cast iron or something. Anyway, hot glue it is. Okay, it's almost immediately chilled down. Okay, plugged in. Alright. So it does look like it's reading. Now let's see if it... There we go. This is the old one. Let's switch it back. Okay, a little bit of lag there. Maybe I could double up the performance, but I think that's working. How does it know when you're done with the scope? I push the scope away. Basically, I just put the scope back into its resting position over at the bench. I'll see if I can show. I'll do this quick enough that you'll be able to see it. So bring it out like this, and I'll switch. The light's on. and then this. I deliberately switched it back then. But you should see it switch off. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick up that performance. It's a little bit too sluggish. Oh wait, it's already done it. Although, or has it? The speed of it picking up is not a problem at all. It's just the speed at which I am querying the sensor. It's not a how fast is the compass switch, it's how fast am I making the sensor be read. Hey there, Michael Kiram. You could use a whole sensor type configuration, but I found the problem is you've got to have too much of a proper alignment of contact, whereas with a compass sensor, it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's try that again. Bring it out. Okay, up and run. So here we're sitting at a heading of 134. Yeah, that's okay. I might double the speed on those. It's just a little smidge slow for me. Okay. And find out why, even though I've exit requested, it seems to not exit sometimes. Alright, so this is the firmware. 0.1 of a second. What? So that actually should be sending out 10 times a second. It's certainly not doing that. Oh wait, no, not 0.1. Yeah. Okay. 5 times a second, or... Okay, twice a second. I mean, as it is, it's configured to do 7 samples a second, so it's not even close to... come on, experiment call. Now somehow I have to... Okay, this is going to be fun. Please stand by. Disconnect you. Oh, hilarious. Hot glue has gone up into the programming port. Okay, hopefully this still works. Okay, thankfully that did work. Lucky us. Not sure why I would do that. Hey, Yosef. Alright, 335, 343. See what I mean by it's jumping around a fair bit. And a lot of that is because of the electrical noise around here. So you have to have a fairly large amount of hysteresis going on in there. Ah, that's the other thing I wanted to check. Where's the exit selected? Requested. It's going to be very naughty of me to do this, but because I don't know why it would request it and not actually exit, unless it's been respawned. Which is entirely possible. Let's see what happens if I exit now. Yeah, that time it worked fine. Alright, let's see if this works. Looks like we're on a win. Right, well, might use this opportunity then to check the switch mini thingy. So what was I doing with this today? Oh yeah, I did power it up. It is charging. Oh, not charging. Oh, that's right. I was in the process of setting this up, and then I had a bunch of customers show up, so I couldn't finish clipping everything in just to see. I'm not even going to bother with a lot of it, although this one does look like it's a comprehensive one. Never dealt with one of these before. This is all new territory. I find it interesting that you have to clip the battery in before you can realistically clip the flex in. Not exactly my preferred style of design. So many things that can go wrong. Well, I think that's charging 140. Is this the on-off button, or is it? I'm not sure it will even switch on because I haven't fully connected everything. I'll try the other polar orientation. Okay, the other orientation's working too. as I haven't connected up basically anything, so but I'm just kind of curious that yeah, this, see how that just dipped? I need to redo the port. It's good in one orientation, not so great in the other orientation. It's almost connecting, but it needs a reflow. On off top left. Which way is top? Was this top? What? I'm gonna guess this is, oh, right up here. Okay. Right. Anyway, we got to see the behavior we're looking for, which is that it has a little bit of a glitch. Can I reflow you? Well, we can douse you in flux and subject you to some unpleasant heat and see if that reset fixes you up. I have a feeling it might not, but we can try. I think the trick with this might be that I have to put some flux down on the inside here. I don't want to burn that flux away. I was just needing it to go there. Flux and find out. Yep. Just trying to get this shield aligned because I don't want to melt that battery connector, whatever that connector is, too much more. Okay. I was wondering why it didn't seem like it was ramping up, and that's because it was winding down. Now you're probably wondering, why am I not doing it from the underside? The main problem is that this thing will just fall out if I go for the underside, which is perfectly fine if you're removing it, which is actually the way I did remove it. But when reinstalling it, you kind of want to have gravity helping you. I'm just making sure I don't melt the plastic, because that's not so fantastic. Okay, so the front ones have started to come up to temperature. Shit, that's not what was meant to happen. Fortunately, I think it did solidify in time. Hey, nuts and proud. And I can see a bit of solder wicking that's gone on down there, so hopefully we'll win. I guess proof will be in the testing. Hey, Mr. Strider. Well, thank you very much for the words of not attacking. Years of Rossman abuse has kind of left me hurt and damaged. I'm kidding, of course, you know. It was never such the case. It was always good international humour. But thank you very much for letting me know. I do actually appreciate that. I'm sorry, don't come up with the best replies to genuine compliments sometimes. And if this isn't working, you watch, I've probably lost now both ports. That'll be hilarious. I think I can test it even in this state. Clean inside the port. Why would I want to do that? Contact clean. I hate this stuff. I really, 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 really hate this stuff. But I gotta say, it does work. Speaking of which, Alexi, that is something that you'll also need to do with the USB meter, is every now and then you gotta just clean out the ports. They really are so sensitive to junk. Oh, the flux too, yeah, well I'm talking about the other stuff. Okay, that immediately jumped up. And that also immediately jumped up. The wiggle test. I'm not getting any dropouts, so that's good. Try the other orientation. Wiggle test. We do have a different current going on there. We've got 5 on that one. Oh, and 5 on that. Okay, no, that's fine. Alright. It looks like it actually is now balanced. Strata, there was one the other night. But yeah. We do have some 1466 boards that I would love to resurrect, but it's fast becoming a time where it's more of a... that would be more of a job of passion than a normal job, as it were. Hey, Greg. Yeah, no battery, yeah. But for me, what I was trying to test there is to see whether the CC lines and the power V-bus were connected. Whereas before, I could wiggle it and it would drop to 0. So, you know, it was having troubles with the CC pins. But it doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Seems to be good now. I should be getting new silicon base pads maybe tomorrow if I'm lucky. I'm very excited to see what they're going to be like. I'm desperately hoping that they will allow me to have a little bit more brightness in general and a little bit more quality. The brightness is going to come from the fact that I'm hoping the darker color, I'm hoping it is a dark color. You can't really tell on AliExpress and things like that. But yeah, I'm sort of hoping. Because I don't think I can push the camera's EV adjustment too much further. I think it's already at like plus 2.5 EV. And I've got like 200 and something watts of LED power bearing down on me. So at some point you say, I think I've got enough light. Funnily enough, if I turn off the lights, it will become brighter on the camera. So which is why I'm thinking this surface needs to become a little bit darker. And as I've said before, due to the weave pattern, I suspect I'm also losing some quality due to the encoding systems. Just like, yeah, it's not easy to encode that kind of detail. Whereas if you have, but God man, this is infuriating. If you have a plain surface, then it's a little easier for the encoder to go, you know what, that's a plain surface, let's just keep it that way and move on to other areas that we can waste our constant bitrate on. Yeah, too much reflection, that's right. And I can't really control it, it's just glossy by nature. So we'll see how it goes. It might be a win, it might not, but I've got to experiment. Do not like the fact that that gets plugged in afterwards. Is there a way you can actually, I suppose you can plug it in after the fact. Okay, in we go. Which one is it? Is it this one? Or, you know what? I'll just get the little DB DACA out of the tin. Oh wait, no, it's not on the tin. It's right. Not seeing anything at the moment. I'm registering 0.5 amp now, so that's good. Not seeing anything yet. Probably a flex or something I haven't connected. Maybe it wants the fan. And what's this one? Did I miss that somewhere? Where can I buy that paint compressor? From the local hardware store. They're just paint, what do you call it? Paintbrush, not paintbrush. 3 litre or maybe, what was that? 3/4 of a gallon compressor. I can't see any activity on the LCD. Well, for me, this one's worked fantastic. I know some other people have had issues with them. But yeah, they're just an airbrush compressor, but with a small reserve tank. In this case, mine's like a 3 litre reserve tank. If you don't get them with reserve tank, it's more annoying, I think. It's nice having that 3 litres on hand. Needs a speaker plugged in. Oh, okay, well, oh, there's one speaker plugged in there. So you can hear it. You're kidding me? I can't hear anything. No, I didn't do this. Oh, I see where that other flex connector is. It's for the loading of the game slot. Yes, Dave, it's just for cleaning anything and everything that I want. So as you can see, it's just a standard airbrush. So, and yeah, it just has a 3 litre reserve tank. I think this cost me 120 Australian. Any old random hardware store should have them by now, I'd say. Oh, thanks, Pedro. Much appreciated. Alright, maybe I should reassemble everything first. Definitely not seeing anything. It could be that the battery is dead flat. It immediately goes up to the same current, so that's good. At least I know both ways it's working fine. Alright. Yeah, I don't know why they feel like they can design things like that. It should be flex down, then battery over top. That would be the more natural process. Sam, put a self in front of your TV, so... Who's Sam? Is that your child or your fur kid? I'm sorry if I forget these things, people. I really am. No wonder it wasn't sitting down. There's screws on there. Some of your fur kitties? Cool. Always happy to hear about the fur kitties. At least this is not as frustrating as dealing with drones. Things like DJI drones and things like that. Ugh. What a nightmare. Although this connector is making me reconsider that. Let's see. Cute. Done. Check the backlight ribbon cable. It connects to the daughter board next to the battery. I just put in one here. Is that what you may be referring to? There was one that was not connected. So maybe that's what you're talking about. In which case maybe we might now have a win. Maybe. Maybe thief. Oh man, that is... How many of these things have probably been blown up because of that? Okay, yeah, we got a battery. I just saw a battery icon show up there. Oh, we're alive. Thank you for that. 1%. That could have been a compounding issue. There was only 1% charge. So maybe... Oh, and now you can see our charge rate is 1.8. Fantastic. Lucky me. Teresa, maybe I should just send this to you like it is, in pieces. Yeah, Lexi, that gimbal flex, that's exactly the one that frequently I just hate it every single time. And the clips that they use, those internal clips for holding the two body halves, it's like, you could have just left them as screws, guys, no need for that sort of level of clipping. Alright. Oh, well, I guess that's basically fixed then, apart from the fact that everything is in here. Oh, man, what a nightmare. Teresa's like, no, you can fix it. We'll let you have the joy of that. It's like, yeah, thanks. But, oh, well, at least that port's fixed now. Okay, we're up to 2%. It is warning about the battery being low. I guess I'll just leave this run for a little bit. And it's getting close to midnight, so I am going to scootaloot. Glad we've got that fixed. Let's see if the compass switch is still working. Yep. That's good. A little over bright. Oh wow, that really is over bright. HDR's gone mad there. Let's dial that back a little. Actually, I'll show my true and trusty. There we go. And just... Okay, that's me just turning the light down. That there is about the light level I like myself as a human being. And that's maximum light out of the ring light, and it's just a bit glary. Someone was asking if it was glare-free, my ring light, and I was like, well, there are limits as to how glare-free I can make it. Oh, come on, stupid microscope thing. There we go. Yeah, you're dealing with point light sources directly overhead, so it's almost impossible to avoid some kind of reflection back. But I think that this ring light does a pretty good job overall. There, so you're going to get that. That's somewhat inevitable. That's me tilting the board. And this is maximum zoomed out. If we go right in, then you really probably won't see it until you start seeing it on actual mirror effect like that. So yeah, it's not quite as 3D affecting as, say, the gooseneck style, because the gooseneck style will give you shadows, but in a way having shadows is its own problem. That may make it look cool, but it can also hide stuff. John L., when we ream you out for continuing to use the joke. Oh, this board, I remember this board, this incarnation of the board. I don't know if anyone else does. But somehow or another, I routed this trace and crashed into the ground plane. I didn't know, and I was like, "Why isn't this thing working?" And anyway, yeah, I think that was yeah, that was 3v3 straight into ground. So we were able to cut that, and for the sake of testing. But yeah, that was a whole batch of boards that went into the bin, all because of that. Clearly, I did not test my, didn't run my, what do you call it, my board tests in the software. Needless to say, we no longer use this kind of thing anymore because this is with the 14-pin CH340 with the crystal and all the other jazz. And oh, this is the old 219 current sensor. The one we use now is so much better. Come on, switch back. Yeah, switch back. I'm still thinking that there is a delay. The delay that we're experiencing, I swear it's because the switching software on the PC side, it gets lagged behind and needs to catch up. Let's have a quick look at that. Okay, not the firmware. Don't mess with the firmware anymore. It's not sleeping. I think where the problem first comes in is during the scene change, but this doesn't make sense. Yeah, because I no longer do the sleep system. I was doing the sleep system before, but what I do now is I actually just denote or make a note of when the last switch time was, and if it's less than a period of time, I just carry on and ignore the next request. So there's a whole bunch of gibberish of hysteria, getting hysterical. I think I just need to drop out almost all my sleep. This here as well. Although this actually shouldn't really matter. Actually, maybe it will, because that will... Okay. Let's see, here we go. Good one, Teslas. Slight delay. Not bad. Okay, so yeah. Wow, it hasn't even changed one bit. Wow, that is a huge delay. What's going on here? It's almost like I made it worse. Yeah, okay. Let's go back and change that to 2 seconds then. It's behaving counterintuitively right now. Okay, decent response there. Yeah, semi-decent there. It's... Basically what happens is, with serial data, the compass switch at the moment, the electronic thing on the microscope, it just pumps out the data. It's not listening to anyone say stop or anything like that. None of that intelligent stuff, no. It's just going, here's your data, here's your data, here's your data. Yeah, and what happens is if nothing is picking that data up on the PC side, it just sits and builds up in the queue of the Linux, the Linux serial port queue for that particular device. So then when you do finally get a piece of software to read the data in the port, it's got this huge backlog that you then have to read. And so if you try to read the data at the rate that you're expecting it under normal conditions, then you'll never catch up with whatever's in the pipe. Interestingly, the switch back and forth is fine. B-Blood, I'll tell you what, you implement that version, and when you work out why it is that I didn't implement that version, then you can come back and tell me. There's a reason why I didn't go for the whole sensor version or other systems. But I'm going to let you find that one out. Seriously, it was definitely a thought as well. The other option, which is almost identical in terms of what it does, is just a simple micro switch. A micro switch actually is in many ways so much easier again. There you are. See, Alexia was thinking of micro switch. And, technically you're right, they do work. But the problem that you run into them is the mechanical mismatched tolerances. Things like what happens if you raise or lower the microscope head, or there are a million little things, or not a million, there's a few little things that change as you work around on the workbench, which can throw that out. So then what you go is, alright, that's fine, we'll mount it on the shaft of the microscope stand, and that can work too. Then you've just got a different set of problems, and that's fine. I went with this one because then it allows me to change the in and out. That's the other thing you got to work out. How do you know when you pull it out? This sounds so bad. When you pull it out, there is a range, an angle sweep range, of which you want that to remain open. So you're going to end up needing 2 contact switches or 2 hall switches to find your in-out parameters. Otherwise, what's going to happen is, I suppose you can just have the one. So once it's home, turn off. Anyway, I've got mine as what it is. And you're right. You can do it with micro switches and hall switches and all that. I just decided compass because it meant I didn't have to do any other physical building. Excuses, let's see. I'm just looking at my thingamajig at the moment. One of the problems I've got here is that I'm only reading 1 byte at a time, but that is intentional. I could try and read a whole buffer, but that's almost guaranteed to be fraught with disaster. If the poles switch on Earth, will it still work? I can make it still work by the fact that I can change the in and out angle in the software. I just say I want it to activate when it's at 320 degrees and deactivate when it's at 180 degrees. So I'll be out for a few minutes while I work out what I'm going to do. The reason why I don't want to make this timeout too much longer is because during the timeout phase, it effectively is blocking. And that's the thing that's throwing me. Why would increasing the timeout actually... I'm going to set that back to 1 and see what happens. we shouldn't actually see that hitting the timeout very often because there's always data in the pipe. Yeah, that's tolerable now. Oh no, we've got a flurfer in here. I think that's good enough. That's pretty much how it was before. Alright, well, the real test now that we have is to see whether it drops out. Because that was always the thing that, well, it was the thing that made me do the overhaul in the first place, is that we would be in the middle of a stream and all of a sudden that thing just drops dead and I can't switch anymore. And even if I rerun the software, it seems to be choked out for some reason. So the only thing that's going to prove this one way or another is long-term use. Alright, I am now getting out of here. Thank you all for watching. Looks like the little switch light is running, but it might not run after I end up putting all these parts back in. We'll have to wait and see. Alright everybody, you'll have a good day, good night, whatever. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.